Hey guys, Apaf here, and in this video I'm going to take a look at my old iPod Touch. This actually wasn't my first iPod Touch, despite it being made older than my first iPod Touch. My first iPod Touch I got when I was 13, it was this 4th gen, and the 4th gen iPod was the first to have a front and rear facing camera. I think it was the first to actually just have a camera in general. It was nice and shiny, piano black. They both had the steel back. As you can tell, these have gotten scritched and scratched up over the years. The only reason I got this 3rd gen was because this only has, see if you can see it, 8 gigabytes of storage, and I mainly wanted it for games, and you can't fit too many games on 8 gigabytes. I had the Battlefield Bad Company 2 game, along with Brothers in Arms, 9mm, and I'm sure some of you guys recognize these games. This one doesn't have Flappy Bird on it, but I wanted to take a look at these because I thought for sure the flash memory in this would have degraded by now, but I charged them up and all my stuff is still on them. The reason I broke this out is because it's a 64 gig and I literally put everything on it. So I have a bunch of old Angry Birds games, I have all the Minecraft clones, including Crafted, which was only on the App Store for like a month for copyright infringement, but a lot of those massive like Gameloft games that were pretty much replicas of console games. I loved those, although playing them on here is really difficult. Now, something I just wanted to show off real quick is I found my old iPhone 5, which I used this for 5 years. It even has the old Magpul case. I'm not sure if Magpul even makes phone cases anymore. And it just broke on me today, which is why I wanted to show my old iPhone 5. One of the downsides of these old black phones is they attract fingerprints like mad, but this had a wallpaper that a good friend of mine drew. I haven't been able to stay in contact with her, but I hope she's doing well. And I just have a few apps on this one as well. Most notably, I have Flappy Bird. So let's start off this video with some good old Flappy Bird. So Flappy Bird was just like a fad that was going on at the time, and it's hard to play this through a viewfinder. I'm not even sure if there's a delay in what I'm seeing. The owner or creator did not like all the attention he was getting because he was not expecting to get all the attention he was getting, and pulled it from the store. So now the only way to play the original Flappy Bird legitly is to buy a used iPhone that had it installed before it was removed from the App Store. I used to have this on iTunes, which means I would have been able to put it on any device I could plug into my Mac, but then Apple updated iTunes to a version of iTunes that doesn't allow you to install apps from, and I lost my copy of Flappy Bird that was on my computer. So now the only way I can play it is from these. I'm sure there's a hacky way of taking the ROMs or whatever this is off the phone, but I have yet to figure that out. Anyways, that's Flappy Bird. As you can tell, I can't do very good at it through a viewfinder. Now, before Minecraft Pocket Edition, there was this app called World Explorer, and it was built in Unity, or World Explorer, made for Minecraft. You could import your Minecraft worlds and play them, which was really cool, just being able to transfer files through iTunes. But I didn't have Minecraft when I first got this. So what I would do would be sit in my parents' bed for hours, building elaborate tunnel systems and ginormous skyscrapers in this knockoff Minecraft. And there was only one map. It's not procedurally generated. So if you remember this, perhaps you'll be a bit nostalgic for seeing these old controls. Now, as you can see, block houses and whatnot, but I built these platforms everywhere. Please ignore my fingernails because I get a comment on my fingernails in every single video, and I realize that now that I'm playing this, that my thumbnail's kind of long. And maybe, just maybe, this lags a bit because of this monstrosity I have built. Keep in mind I was 13. Well, anyways, you have these blocks that you can build. I don't think there's any way to blow up the TNT. And you just basically select what you want to build and tap. I forget how to delete. Oh no, you press this, I think. And that's how you delete. Okay, well, that was World Explorer. After that, everyone moved on to Eden, which was more stylized and ran better on the iPod 4th gen, but really the only difference between it and the other one is I think there were some monsters in it, and you could set things on fire, which means the TNT works. So for anyone who's played Eden before, maybe that's a bit of a nostalgic look back. During this generation of iPods, in order to see your opened apps, they actually just show up at the bottom and you close them. And also, the good old YouTube app is here. YouTube used to appear on Google product or Apple products as this, and then Apple and Google, I think, got in a bit of drama, and the YouTube app was completely removed from iPods and iPhones. And then the app that we see today is what appeared after that. Also going to take a look at Crafted. So I don't know if anyone will remember Crafted. This was really a quick fad because it was taken down almost immediately because it literally copies all the textures from Minecraft. Like, it was blatant copyright infringement. The sound effects, the textures, everything is from Minecraft. But it's in 2D, so it works kind of like Terraria in that way, but it had the crafting of Minecraft. I think a lot of people fell in love with it really quickly, which is a shame considering it was taken down so quickly. But I was able to preserve it on my little iPod here. MineBuilder, to my knowledge, is still around, and Minecraft Pocket Edition eventually came out. MineBuilder is basically Minecraft Pocket Edition, but before Minecraft Pocket Edition was a thing. I used to message the developer back when I had my Xperia Play because it was compatible with the Xperia Play controller. Now I just gotta show off one more game on this iPod because this was just super impressive. If you imagine a teenager who's finally been given access to an iPod would believe, I was never able to play Grand Theft Auto. And then, out of nowhere, these Grand Theft Auto clones were released by Gameloft. And they're actually, like, pretty good for, you know, a clone of a Grand Theft Auto game. Like, it costs like $5. It's just like an giant... Let's turn off that volume for copyright infringement, but that was a good song. A giant open world, and I'd love just messing around in this open world and have my iPod music playing. I remember just zipping around in a helicopter, being chased by police, and listening to the Ataris. But I don't think too many people talk about these games. Like, Gameloft games were so good back in the day. They eventually went to a free-to-play model where these games got loaded with microtransactions. And sadly, some of those Brothers in Arms games, like that one, if you updated it, they actually took away the paid-for version that you bought and gave you the free-to-play version, where you like lost out on a lot of weapons because they wanted you to pay to unlock weapons, and it just became awful. I'm hoping eventually people will find a better way of emulating these games because it's a whole library of games that are just lost to time unless you have an old iPod loaded up with them. Now, there was also Modern Combat, which I don't even know which one to begin with. These were the Modern Warfare clones. I wouldn't say clones because they all have their own story and, dare I say, gameplay, but, you know, they're not carbon copies of Modern Warfare, although they were deeply inspired by Modern Warfare. And I probably would have played all these games for YouTube, but back during this era, of Apple, it was almost impossible to record an iPod. So that's why I'm not showing off too much of these games. I'm sure people have gotten better footage of them than, you know, putting a camera in front of an iPod. I just wanted to show off kind of the general vibe of playing the games on an iPod, not necessarily like a deep look into the games. Alright, so this is Modern Combat. If I can... Gosh, I don't know how I'm gonna... Ow. Hang on, how do I go into scope? That's how I go into scope. Okay. This is very difficult to do on its own, let alone through a viewfinder. Oh gosh. I'm really screwing up my save file from 10 years ago here, but I can't I can't keep my hands in front of the screen good enough for recording this. But as you can see, the graphics are pretty decent, especially on this device that came out in like 2009, and all you have is touch controls. But it works decent enough for a 13-year-old with nothing else to do. The only one of these games that I've actually completed is Rainbow Six. I guess it's just called Rainbow Six. Brings me back to a time before these games, or before every mobile game was a cash grab. I mean, they all were meant to be profitable, but before they were loaded up with microtransactions. Oh gosh, it's already at 20%. Perhaps I shouldn't be playing all these in-depth games right after each other. A lot of these first-person shooters played very similarly, as you can tell. There's not too many different ways you can implement touchscreen controls, but again, for a third-generation iPod, you gotta admit these graphics are pretty decent. But these weren't the best graphics, no. The best graphics were probably in games like 9mm, which is like a Max Payne knockoff. Six Guns was kind of a Red Dead Redemption type game. Backstab was actually more of an Assassin's Creed type game. This game I never got into, but it was kind of like an Uncharted knockoff. Psyops, another game that I thought I'd get into and never did. There's actually this Assassin's Creed game that was a very early, not very early, but before my iPod Touch time. So 2009 iPod games typically aren't going to push the third and fourth gen iPods. As you can see, everything kind of just goes along a trail. It's not a fully open world Assassin's Creed game like that. But I guess it's a, I wouldn't say 2.5D, but you can see it's very linear is my point here. The Nova series was really good. Nova 3, the graphics on that's pretty good. Kind of like Halo in a way. The first Nova was even released on the PSP as a PSP Mini. But there's also just a lot of other stuff on here. I don't really even have the time to go through everything. But if you were a teenager in 2009 to 2011, you probably have seen some of this stuff, like the skater game and the pwned button. At one point, everyone had this like trash can game as well as the gun app. And the gun app is literally just an app that shows off a bunch of different guns, mostly from Modern Warfare, because everyone was playing Modern Warfare at the time. A lot of them don't come pre-installed. This might not work anymore, actually. Are none of these pre-installed anymore? Oh my gosh. And then they want you to pay for them. But anyways, that was once an app everyone had. As well as Kick. There's the old Kick logo, if you remember Kick. But let me know if I should take a more in-depth look at some of these games, as this is kind of just a look at this old iPod, and I can't possibly go through everything. I thought this page was kind of interesting because I have a free mag guide, a game that isn't around anymore, the old PlayStation Friends app before the PS4 became a thing and the PlayStation app became a thing, the Wachovia app, a bank that no longer exists, as well as Splice. Oh, and Power Up Rewards, I forgot about that. Splice is a video editor that I used to use to edit all my iPod filmed videos on, mostly on this, because this actually has a camera on it. Oh my gosh, these are actually cringy videos I posted back in the day. This one's from 2011, and it's pretty decent for back then, though. Like, you can add transitions and you can edit the audio timeline, which is pretty cool. And I think I was just doing like a top 10 list or something. I don't know. I used to make a lot of those slideshow style videos because that's all you really could do back in the day, because it was very difficult to record this screen. So it was mainly just screenshots and like captions for me. And while we're here, let's take a look at the music player, because that has changed briefly. You used to be able to view all your album covers like this, which was a carryover from the iPod Classic, I think. You could just make that, like, this thing disappear so you could look at the full album artwork better instead of making these buttons smaller. Probably because the screen is not any standard dimension. Like, this isn't 16 by 9 or 3 by whatever standard definition is. But that's how the music player worked. I think I've updated this, or like put some of my newer music on here as well. I don't think I have any videos on it, but we'll see. Maybe I do. Maybe I put my entire iTunes library on here. I think I did, because there was a lot of storage on here. Anyone remember the Naked Brothers Band? That was a weird thing. And then the Safari app, which is a Safari app. And the old iBooks app. I don't know if that's a thing anymore. Anyways, that was a look at my old iPods. Wanted to kind of document their existence in case they one day just decide to stop holding data. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. I did that all from a flash drive because I couldn't get my computer connected to the internet. But now we have the classic folder, and we can finally see if this will actually open. This is so low resolution, but I'm shocked that it's actually working.